you fulfilled the support requirements that are on the meetup site.
Cool.
Right?
Yep.
You got some slides.
I got a couple slides, and then I'll actually just take you through the CMS.
This is John.
Hello, I've been truly late.
Not really. He's usually early.
So I guess I get to talk to you guys about WordPress and why I think it's an awesome CMS. Not always the perfect tool, but most of the time it's a really darn good tool. So first, actually, before we get going, does everyone here know what a CMS is? Does anyone here not know what a CMS is? Everyone does? Awesome. All right. Does everyone know what WordPress is, or have you heard of it? Yes? Yes? I see nods. No shakes? Awesome.
So switch to the advanced topics.
Switch topics, yes. Well, and just in case everyone's not entirely sure, a CMS is a content management system. They're there to help you manage the content on your website so a web developer doesn't need to go in and hard code HTML to do stuff for you. So the whole point is to take your content and allow a non-tech user to modify your site. So with that, these are some of the requirements we have for this project. User updated slideshow, photo resizing, form submission with some qualifiers, and blog including comments and spam protection. And this
integration.
What? I don't remember that. And there's good news. This is what WordPress offers. So by default, it offers these things called pages, which is managing your default static pages. So the things like an About Me page, a contact page, services page, those are all probably static pages. You can just leave that on that table over there.
Over here?
Yeah, thank you. It also manages your posts, which is your blog. Of course, it handles comments. And by default, it also handles your categories, your tags. And all you need to do is you just need to turn on one plugin that comes with it by default, and it handles your spam protection, or most of it. By default, it also uploads media. You can do menus, you can do sidebars, and it's SEO friendly. And there's a ton of themes and plugins for you guys as well. The only two things that I had to add on to the standard WordPress install were two plugins for a slideshow and a contact form. Everything else was literally right out of the box. And just for reference, one of the things I did here was, I think I built everything in 5 hours, which now that I know which themes and which plugins I ended up using, if I had to rebuild this right now, it would probably take me like 3 hours to set this entire site up. It's super fast. So the theme I used is thematic. I'll obviously show it to you as soon as we're done. This is basically the blank default theme that you can extend it to do whatever you want. Since I'm actually going to be building a site, I didn't just build this for funsies. I actually have a group of, a friend that I'm building this site for. So after I'm done, I set all this stuff up. I'm just going to go home and just theme this site later. And for those of you who know WordPress, I'm going to do this thing called using a child theme, which is fantastic. So, plugins. You delete the default Hello Dolly. No, not Hello Dolly. That is Hello Dolly? Okay. For some reason, I got Hello Kitty stuck in my head. You don't need that. You're going to keep a Kismet. That comes by default as well. That's the spam protection. And then I added two plugins, Contact Form 7 and a Slideshow 1. So, very quickly, the reasons why I think WordPress is flipping fantastic is that it handles 80% of your cases right out of the box. 80% of whatever websites you need to make. Unless it's something very specialized, it'll handle it right out of the box. The other, let's say, 10% you can handle with a couple plugins. And the last 10% is either going to be really tricky or you're going to have to make your own plugins for it. You can extend themes and plugins, which is fantastic. And I was literally talking to a designer the other day, and he's like, I set up my first WordPress site, and he doesn't know any coding whatsoever. So it's, and I don't mean that in a bad way, it's literally as easy as someone who doesn't know any coding can set this up. I think that's powerful.
Was it a hosted solution, or did you do it?
I don't think it was a hosted solution. I think he.
So
I
that's
think.
even easier.
Yep.
Right? There's a couple places you can go where you just say new WordPress instance.
Yes.
Some of those hosting platforms out there.
Yep.
Right, but some of those hosted ones, they don't give you full access to the entire extension database.
Or it might
Only
be
on the
outdated.
WordPress. Only on the WordPress site. Usually, if you do it like GoDaddy, usually it flashes.
Now, if you go
So
to
your
GoDaddy and
CSS.
use like that script program, it'll install for you and you get full access.
So I wouldn't be honest if I said WordPress didn't have disadvantages, and these are kind of in reverse order. Shortcodes, which are things you use with plugins, it's kind of a way of saying I want this plugin to go here on this page. They're actually not the most intuitive thing. Like you actually have to explain it to your end user what a shortcode is. There's no dependencies. This isn't that bad for a small site, but for a large site where, let's say, an example, I had a Flickr slideshow on the side, and I had or not a slideshow, just a gallery of Flickr thumbnails, and in the main section I had a different gallery, and they used two different scripts, and they had two different instances of the same cycle file, which is a thing that helps move images around. Whereas if you're doing this custom or with a different system, you don't have to worry about having duplicate versions of jQuery being loaded and having problems with that. I did find when I was playing around with plugins today a really cool gallery plugin that says, hey, I already have this script, don't include it. So really good plugins are, you have the option of not getting rid of some of these problems. But 95% of them don't. The last thing is no modularity. And I said custom post types for WordPress users crucify me. There are WordPress custom post types, but it's not quite the same as it's not as modular as you need it to be. So something, sometimes you want to say, hey, there's a new location or a new beer or a new this or a new that, and WordPress sucks at that. It can handle basic custom post types, but nothing special. And I'm sure Elliot will explain that later. So here's the link to this slideshow. It's published on Google Docs, the Web 920, the Web 920, and my Twitter account. Awesome. Let's show you this. So why don't I explain what it is? I do like meditation stuff on the weekend. So of course, someone told the guy that runs this thing that I build websites, and of course, within like an hour, he's like, "Hey Patrick, can you build us a website?" Fine. So this is just a site I set up for the people that I meditate with on the weekend. Right here on the home page, you can see I have my little slideshow going. This is from that plugin. I forgot what it's called already.
NextGen?
No, it wasn't NextGen. NextGen's good. Yeah, portfolio slideshow. This was super simple. This one's nice. I picked this one because it just automatically includes things that the shortcode's really easy, and it automatically includes any images you upload to the page. You don't need to put it in a special gallery. NextGen's really modular, which is great. NextGen's really great because of its modularity, but it's not. This is super easy. So like a WordPress, a user would just say, upload a new image to this page, and it'll do it. It is actually resizing these images. These images are 960 pixels wide, and it's just shrinking them to fit the content area. You can see that I have a couple I have an about page, the home page, a contact page, and I also have this news section here, which is the equivalent of a blog. So why don't we just go through that? This is, we don't need that one. This is just an about page. I have a better one. I thought I made a better one. Where did I put that? Huh. Let's see if I actually forgot. I made a different test page and I don't remember what I called it. So let me just log in here. Why don't we just go through the login process since I'm doing that? That's as easy as to log into the site. I am on a little baby browser right now since we're doing this screen thing. Let's open this up. Pages. Where did that test page go? Test page. Oh, that's not it. I think I deleted it. But you can see here's a basic page that WordPress is handling. I can upload images here. I can add more slideshows. I can add contact forms. I can do whatever I want. This is the blog section. I just made one blog post for each movie, or each Pixar movie: Nemo, WALL-E, and Up. And there's still the default Hello World there. A lot of content management systems do this. I'm sure everyone we present today will show you this. They all do, when you make a new post, it'll automatically put it into the blog feed. It'll show up here on the side. You can search for it. They all do that. If you hard code it, or it should do it automatically. The contact form is super simple. You know what? Why don't I show you the backend for that? So while we're here, I might as well just show you. This is actually one of the parts of WordPress I don't like. This little thing, I started with this plugin. I've just always kept using it. I'm sure there's better ones out there. This is not intuitive to any sort of user. This is something that I use because it's easy for me, because I understand what these short codes are. But for a user, they won't be able to build a form automatically. I've had a user ask me, and I was able to explain it to her, and she figured it out. But this is not super easy for a user to understand. For those of you who, basically you're creating these tags. They come up here. You'll set the settings. You'll copy the little brown code into this section here. And then for files, you have to add extra stuff like that. It's kind of a mess for users.
But does everybody expect users to be able to develop forms on their own?
No.
Oh, sorry.
No, I certainly don't think so. I've only had one client ask me to develop a form on her own.
Right. I don't think they expect it normally.
No, but it's certainly something nice you can offer them. I would like to. Then they have, then they can bug me less with small stuff.
I think a lot of people too. I've seen companies divert to third-party applications, like you have Woohoo.
Yep.
And a lot of times they'll just say that because then it's there's a separate support team, a separate support staff, and then you can easily just in your theme put in the code of that form. You know everything's just going to function in that regards, and then you kind of shift away the worry of having to manage that portion too. Plus, a lot of those have a free trial anyways, and they don't get a lot of people signing up. If they do have that many, it's a small fee.
Yep. And I just used Woohoo for something last week, and I think you get 3 forms for free.
Yeah, it's enough just to at least get you going, and if they do get that traction, it's like 10 or 15 a month. It's not even bad. Yep. It's pretty reasonable.
Yep. And Woohoo's really fantastic, because it's just a drag and drop interface as opposed to that short code that I was showing you. So this is actually what the contact page looks like in this admin section. You can see, this is your standard WYSIWYG editor that I'm sure all of us are going to show you. You can do whatever you want here. Hey, this is some new copy. And you can bold things, you can whatever. Everyone this is what standard content management systems do.
I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Up there where it says contact us, that's your page title, right?
Yes.
What if you need to drop in like a circle R Unicode or something like that, or if you want to use HTML
In the title?
Yeah.
So what sort of HTML? Like you just want to wrap it in something, or?
Say I wanted one word bold. Say you wanted.
That would be a pain. I think I've put a registered sign in there before, and I think I actually put HTML in there, which sucks, because then a user doesn't know what that is. I can't remember though, that was a while ago.
Why would you want to arbitrarily do that?
Well, if you're mentioning a product and your client says my product has to have a circle.
So isn't that
If you name any Kimberly product, you're going to say circle.
But all those.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm getting confused on the terms they used? You said that that's the page title, but that's not. You're not talking about a meta title.
Right,
I was
right.
talking, and now I see this is actually that's a part of the address. So what do you mean
Yes.
by title?
Okay, so first of all, the permalink, which is that address there, is totally different from the title up above it, the contact us. Those are two, they do automatically create that, the permalink from the very first title you enter, but I mean, they're totally separate. That title is not your meta title. However, most themes will use this in the meta title.
That title becomes an H1, correct? That becomes the
No.
heading on the page.
Did you say the meta?
Contact us.
This will usually become an H, yeah, most cases this will be an H1 on the page.
Yeah, so a highest level heading on
Yes,
the page.
yes. You can obviously do whatever you want to it, but most of them will do an H1.
Yeah.
So let me just show you the update process. You can see this is pretty easy. This is I always compare it to someone using Word. I mean, someone who doesn't know any tech stuff can go in here, bold things, add little subheads. Adding images is easy.
You know, Patrick, one thing I found really annoying about WordPress is on the back end in here, it is not what you see is what you get.
Yes. Okay. They are called WYSIWYG editors. They are called what you see is what you get. But you are correct in that they don't automatically load the fonts that you have. They don't load the right font size. They don't load the right colors. You're correct. You can have it do that if you want to. It's a couple extra lines of code. I haven't done it.
I tried it once, and I mean, it does work, it'll match up pretty accurately, but I mean, like, one thing with WYSIWYGs is, as they were developing WordPress, one of the decisions they made was changing it, because it used to actually be named WYSIWYG, but then they changed it to visual, because with everything with responsive design, and that your content is not gonna always look the same, they specifically changed the name because they didn't want to imply that that is what you're gonna get, because it's more about just putting the content correctly using the proper block level elements, and then letting the front end of whatever systems, whatever anything, take it out correctly and kind of like understand how to show it. So they did think about that, and it was a conscious decision to say like, okay, we're going to change the name from that to just a visual editor.
The other thing I find really weird about WordPress is it strips out the paragraph tags, and it can strip out code.
Yep.
That I find very distressing.
I find that very annoying. Yeah, it strips out things like iframes and stuff like that. I'm sure there's workarounds. I'm sure I've used them before. I don't know.
Load separate editors for WordPress?
Separate editors, yeah. You can load, like if you're more familiar with TinyMCE. Yep, you can load that. I think Jason does that by default. But I wouldn't bother with that just because you know, when WordPress updates things, they always, you know, one of the things they update on occasion is this visual editor. And I want to be up to date with that. So I don't want to load TinyMCE and have that be different. But you can. I'll just very quickly show you how easy it is to upload an image, and then we'll move on. Select Dropbox. I have a Dropbox. Web. Cool. Good enough. Good enough. Insert into post. Cool. And we're just going to update that page. So now my contact page should be totally different. I have the bold copy, I have the italicized copy, and I have this new image loaded. Super easy. Once again, anyone can do it.
Okay. Question on positioning the image. Is that not real granular as far as you can kind of see where you want it to go, but you can't slide it around?
I mean, by default, they give you this left, center, and right options.
I meant more horizontal, as far as where you push it horizontal. It's like,
Do you mean vertically?
yeah, vertical.
Yeah, so what you can do is you can actually just, so let's just say we want to center align it, and then we want to move it, we'll move it below that contact form. I just clicked and dragged the image, and moved it beneath that contact form. So preview those changes, should be below the form now. So you just click and drag the image, and it will give you a little cursor, and you'll release it where you want that image to be.
Because I tried positioning some things, and it seems like there's certain places that won't put it, you know, if I've got a number of paragraphs,
Yeah.
and I try and line it up so it doesn't make one of the paragraphs look bad,
Okay.
it seems like you can put it in a number of spots, but not pretty much anywhere.
You should be able to put it anywhere in kind of the standard document flow, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, as if you were writing HTML. I mean, you should be able to say it comes after this paragraph but before this paragraph.
Well, like I had a paragraph with 5 lines.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to, the top of the picture to be even with the first line of the paragraph, but it would always push it down and have the first line go all the way across, and then the other lines would
Okay.
go around that.
Okay. Yeah. You might have just had it off by a line or something and it put it in the middle of the paragraph. I don't know. You should be able to put it right before a paragraph and then float it left. So, and I'll just.
At the same time, if the CSS for that theme
Mhm.
makes an image, gives it a certain margin automatically, you won't fix that by positioning it on the page.
Yep.
You're gonna have to change the
the
CSS,
size a little bit.
not the size, but the CSS, meaning the yeah. If you aren't familiar with that, that would make it hard.
So yeah, I just clicked and dragged it to the left of that paragraph. Is that, and then you have a problem where it kind of the first line gets messed up somewhere?
Well, different things
Yeah.
on different
Yeah, yeah.
paragraphs. It just seemed like it wasn't infinitely adjustable.
It should be. You should be able to drop that image tag wherever you want. If you're having trouble, there is an HTML view, and you can see what code it's writing,
Yeah.
and then drop it where you need it to. But you shouldn't have to do that.
In your image dialog there, what was the caption?
I think I didn't change it, so it's probably just JPEG. Oh, what is the cap? Like, what does it do?
What does it do with that line of text?
So when you don't have a
Something in.
when you don't have a caption, it doesn't do anything. Obviously, when you do have a caption, it adds a paragraph or something right beneath the image. So this image is what do you call it? Color blindness test. So you can see it's right there, and then in the theme you can do whatever you want to it.
So the caption and the image are wrapped in a block level tag?
Yes.
And then stop?
Yep. So yeah, I mean it'll hang out with this image. So if you need them to float, it'll float with it, and
Oh, that's cool.
yep. It works out well. I haven't had a problem with it. Actually, I think maybe I had like a border problem with it once, but that was I couldn't get the border around the image. But it should be pretty adjustable. Okay. I think I'm just rambling at this point. Do we? I guess I'll quickly show how to edit like a post and a page, but I think we kind of got it all.
Was form validation one of the things we were supposed to do?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Why don't I show you the contact form? So Jane, I just clicked on this little icon here on the left, which is something the plugin gives me, and that's just the icon for the little contact form. I have one contact form called the contact page contact form because I'm creative. These are the shortcodes that I was talking about earlier. Now, when you create your form, so if I wanted to have another text field, what I can do is there is a required field. Where is it? Oh, right there at top. So I can do that, and it'll make it a required field. So let's call it name, email, and company. So I copies that. I'm going to put it right beneath your company. Oops. And let's see if that did it right. So Jane, what I did here in the bottom was I added it to the form, which was up here, your company, and then in the message body, I just printed it out, just so that obviously the form does something. I think there's a save button around here somewhere. Maybe at the top, save. So I've already included that shortcode in the contact form. I don't need to change it. I just need to reload that contact page. And I really should get rid of that annoying image, but your message and your company. So let's just press send, and it is a required field. If I did send an email through, I'm sure it would come through. So that's how easy it is to make a required field with this plugin. Obviously, different plugins will be done different ways, but. And I think the last thing was spam protection. So why don't we just very quickly look at that? News. Actually, here's the cool built-in search feature. I like fish. Does fish come up? Ha! Cool. Surprise, surprise. Nemo comes up when I'm talking about fish. I'm going to create a incognito window so that this website doesn't know who I am. I don't have any cookies or any session variables saved, because otherwise it knows I'm the administrator and it'll auto-post it. So this is test@test.com. I'm not going to enter a website. I love fish. They are so cute. Okay. So if I post this comment, it does actually show up here, but it's not actually there it is. It does actually show up here. It's actually not approved yet. If you go into the WordPress backend, if you just go to your dashboard, it'll say, hey, there's these many comments waiting for moderation. And that's all done with Akismet. Go. Plugins, where'd you go? Oh, right there. I think because I made a test one earlier, it actually auto-approved it. But normally it'll say awaiting approval from Akismet, which might take 5 minutes or an hour, whatever. Akismet's really good. I use it for other blogs, and it catches, I don't know, 95% of spam. But if you do have a problem, you can just spam things and trash things. Or if you really want to post a comment, you can approve it right away. So that's spam protection. Akismet should handle it for you, though. All I did with Akismet was I turned it on, I went to their website, got an API key, and I pasted it in. The comments from WordPress are all done automatically. If I wanted to respond to this as the admin, why don't I do that? Reply. Great. I'm glad someone else likes fish as much as I do. Ooh. And there it is. I mean, that's literally, I didn't touch a thing with, this is all built into the theme, it's built into WordPress, I didn't touch it. I actually honestly didn't even test it. I did test spam protection, I didn't even test replying to comments. It's just something that's built in. So, I think I'm all out of things to talk about. Any questions?
On your contact form, is it, term escapes me for a second. If you're on a mobile device and you go there and you're typing in, does the keyboard automatically adjust the field?
That's an excellent question. I don't know. Let's take a look. I need to get rid of that stupid image. So email, let's see if that's an email type. Inspect elements. No, it's not. So this plugin is still putting it as a type text. If you're on your mobile device and it was type email, it would then make the mobile browser give you the right keyboard, but it's not. If you wanted that, I'm sure there's a plugin that does it for you. This one is just lazy. It hasn't updated the script. Or you could just go in there and change it. Whenever someone says it's an email field, then generate this tag.
I was just checking it out of the box.
And this, right, and this is a plugin. I assume there's a better one out there. This one I've used. Do you have a question?
Can we use a PHP when we're editing pages?
can you use PHP? Just to do whatever you want it to do, like calculate something?
Yeah, I can't think of an example right
Mm-hmm.
now, or is it just HTML?
No, so WordPress templates are built with PHP. And you
But
can do,
that's the back end, right? The
Doesn't it strip it
templates.
out?
oh, sorry, you mean the page, okay.
When I do pages.
So you mean like when you're editing the contact page, you want,
Or yeah, like my About Me page.
Yeah.
Let's say I want to have a counter that says,
Sure.
you
a hit counter?
know,
How
no,
many people have been to this website?
like in this a countdown to this event
Sure.
or whatever.
Sure.
And that would be PHP. So how would I insert that? That would have to be a
So-
plugin, a shortcode.
Another way of doing that is you can make special page templates in WordPress. So you can say, I'm creating a page template for the About page. Or a page, you probably say it's a page template for a countdown. And then your About page would say, and I'll show you. So under pages, so in your theme, you will just say template. So here, these are different templates for pages. You would just make your own, and in that page template, you would write your PHP, and then it would do it all for you. I don't think there's a way of doing it in the visual editor.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But that's probably the way to do it, is to make a PHP page template. So right where all these files are, you'd make your own, and then you'd write your PHP there.
I've made copies of the footer, for example, and added PHP for calculating the year, so that you don't have to update the year from year to year, and I know that part works. So you can do a header or a footer, but I haven't tried doing it with an individual page.
The overall theme for WordPress is really nice and intuitive and trying to break everything apart for kind of like modularization to make it all reusable and whatnot. But you can do things too where if you want to, you can add a meta box actually to the pages area. So if you want to provide maybe some extra things or a checkbox to turn on some sort of a counter or things like that for the built-in pages area, you can do that.
You mean like the widgets? Is
Not,
that what you're talking about?
not the widgets, it's actually like the page attributes
Yeah.
are that is up. That's in a sense the meta box. You can actually add your own custom ones to pages.
Yeah, I don't have it.
But like you can basically, because like right now he has it scrunched down to the browser, but on the side you can add your own custom ones to only be used for pages because they're all looked at as post types, or every single item in WordPress is a post in a sense that has like a name and all those things. But you can extend it to whatever you need. So I mean that's an option, but widgets would be another option too. But then you have to worry about putting that into the template or giving an area for it. But that's really cool too, the widgets.
So if I were to want to learn more about that, I would look up attributes or meta attributes. Is that what you said?
Actually, a great place to go is WP Tuts. That's where I was finding a lot about the meta boxes. Otherwise, the codex, or basically the documentation on WordPress, is very thorough. If you go into like theming and such, where you start to search for specific terms that people have used, you'll find a lot of tutorials on how to go about it. But WP Tuts is probably one of the best ones for very clean, concise explanations on how to do things.
TUX.
TUTS. I think it's WP-TUTS.
I did think of something else that you just brought up. I totally forgot about menus and widgets, which is built into WordPress. So I have this thing called the main menu. If I want to add a page to it, like that test page, add to menu. I want to put it right after the news page. Actually, yeah, I'll put it right after the news page. I'll save, and it'll just be there. That's done automatically. Super easy. And it's the same thing with widgets.
Can you add a page of your own, like say if you have your own custom HTML, you made your own gallery, whatever. You have your own photo gallery. How hard is it to insert that in so that it's in line with the list of tabs?
Insert a gallery? Like in, you don't mean like,
If I made my own gallery, my own HTML page from scratch,
Yeah.
and I wanted it to be in my WordPress site.
so, oh, okay. So what you can do is you can actually write a link. So I mean, you could write a link to your gallery. You know, if it's at the root of your site, root gallery.php, you could do that, but it wouldn't have the rest of this WordPress stuff with it. It wouldn't have the menu.
You can go into the HTML view instead of the visual view and and just insert your HTML there. If you go back to the admin
Mm-hmm.
side of a page, and now, yeah, just go to the HTML, and he can put his HTML in the HTML view and it'll green.
You just post it, it'll read it all,
Yeah.
accurate.
Yep.
Is there anything else?
What if I had my own HTML navigation already built out, and it was a mega drop down, so there's images and all these other things happening in the drop down. How would I plot that into?
I have not tried to build a mega drop down with WordPress. I don't know the answer to that question. I know it gives, I mean, they give you the option to add all sorts of things, but, you know, like links and pages and other things, but not like a mega drop down where there's, like, you know, there's like the main menu and you hover over the about and there's another main menu and like image or, I don't know how to do that. I'm sure there probably is a hack or a way to do it. You could also hard code that into your theme, but then that takes it out of the content manager's hands, right? So as a web developer, I can hard code something into a theme, just copy and paste it into the right theme file. But then the project manager, who does a lot of this small itsy-bitsy work for me, can't edit it. You know, if they wanted to change about to about us, I would have to go in there and change it.
Okay, but they can still access this section, right?
Oh yes, yes. They just wouldn't be able to.
You're just putting in underneath that H1 field. You're just putting in what that address would be, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You just make it
Super hard to-
correspond to your.
Yep.
You can keep answering questions.
Okay,
We're
go
shutting
for
our
it.
screen down now.
Oh man,